Sit down and be quiet, okay?
Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete from Anxiety here. Welcome to today's episode. I appreciate y'all being here so much. Let's talk about a few things real quick. The Pete vs. Anxiety Team Anxiety Facebook group. Are you a part of it? You're not? What are you waiting for? The link's down here in the description down below, or go to Facebook and search Pete vs. Anxiety, then look for the Team Anxiety Team page and join it today. Why not? You can join and help. It'll be great. Yeah, like right now. Hurry up. Stop what you're doing, pause this video, go do it right now. But anyways, let's also talk about the Pete vs. Anxiety YouTube page. If you're here right now, you're probably following it most likely. If not, head on over there, subscribe, be sure to like and comment on the videos and let me know, because all that stuff really helps, guys. I really appreciate it. And help me break the stigma that mental health is talked about enough. But anyways, guys, let's get in today's episode. I'll have a great one. Thank you so much again. And as I always say, don't ask how your day is. Ask how your mental health is today.
Guys, welcome to an exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. My guest today is the one, the only, Felipe. Felipe, welcome in, brother.
Hey, thanks so much, bud.
Hey, so why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, man?
Born and bred up in Texas, just turned 50 years old, father of a 12-year-old autistic son. Typical guy, hardworking. I've done everything from construction work to office work. Luckily, I'm working in an office right now, so
Yeah.
because I know construction work, and my respect to all those folks that do that type of thing. I'm one of those guys that likes to learn about everything and so on and so forth. So most of the time I got a lot to say about a lot of stuff. I don't know. I just get into everything I can to learn. But it's the same thing over and over again for us guys. And I was kind of looking forward to talking to you about some of the stuff today, being Mental Awareness Month for men.
Yeah, let's get right into it, man. So how's your mental health today? I know you were telling about your crazy day yesterday.
It's good. A couple of us guys here on there, we usually say, "Hey, how's your gas tank?" Luckily, it's about 3/4 full. I'm looking forward to the day. Yesterday, I could not finish my day fast enough yesterday. It was just one thing after another. The phrase snake bit came up, and I was just like, I could not close my eyes fast enough just to get to today. So, woke up with a different outlook, and we'll see how we get there.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, it's great to have a positive outlook, and I think, with it being Men's Health Month, it's great that you're here now because we can discuss it. Have you seen these videos going around lately? These people, these women making jokes of it, saying it's a mockery and saying that men don't need a mental health month.
Yes, I've actually seen a lot of them. I've been in a couple of live rooms where we're talking men's mental health, and it's one of those where we're trying to get redirection to something else.
Yeah.
And my comment came up and said, hey, at least give us 5 minutes of the month to acknowledge what's going on. But I know you and I've had these conversations that doesn't get acknowledged as much as we need to.
I think it gets silenced too easily. I think that's the problem with everything, is that people are quick to judge and say, oh, well, you're not a man because you have feelings or you're in tune to your emotions. But my question I've been posing lately is, like, if you're the alpha male, wouldn't you be in tune with your feelings? Wouldn't you be the perfect male? Be able to handle all these conversation pieces. You're in tune with everything. I think that makes you the alpha male. I don't think this whole perception of, oh, you're so big and strong. Okay, well, you're big and strong. That's cool. All right, check that off the list. But what if you're in tune with your feelings? That would make you well-rounded more than, say, everyone else. That would make you the alpha, honestly. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people overlook, is they always see these social media posts of these guys all swelled up. Oh, this is what a man does, And there was a guy I was watching. He used to go by Big Tex. I think he changed his name to something else. But this monster-ish looking dude is just talking about his feelings. And I think that's the kind of message we need to have as men, is that people like that need to start speaking out more. And a lot of them are. Iron Sanctuary is another guy. He's fucking massive. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He is he looks like the Hulk in real life, man. But he's so in tune that he starts talking about these things and brings awareness to this stuff, because, I think they said the statistic already this year is like 325,000. And that's that's 71 to 80% of suicides already this month alone, or for this year alone in 2025. And we're not even halfway through the year almost.
Oh yeah, and I always take a look at it and saying there's mental strength and there's physical strength. There's two separate things.
Yeah.
I've been to the point where I concentrated on physical strength. A lot of times, working out and so on and so forth helps you out mentally, right? It helps you get a self image, but it doesn't stop you from getting hit as far as your feelings are concerned, or anything that's emotionally involved. Doesn't matter how many muscles you got. Emotionally, it's once you get hit by something that either triggers you, hurts you,
Hmm.
uh, catches you at a deep level, there's no way of blocking that. And those numbers are insane to me.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing videos about mostly this month. More videos are coming out, and specifically about those numbers. And there's one that kind of caught my eye, and I'm hoping I can say this here.
You can. You're good. You're good.
There's a guy sitting at the bar, and death comes up to him
Yeah, I've seen that one.
and says, "Hey, you've been calling a lot on me. What is it that you need?" And the guy says, "You're the only one who can bring peace to me." And it just hit, right? The fact that we're sitting here and saying the only way we can stop this is to just stop everything
Yeah.
altogether, which I know I've been there. It's a very hard situation, but emotionally, I've been fighting. I've fought those demons the same as any other guy that you probably run into.
Yeah.
The fact that you're not good enough, or the fact that you feel that you're not worthy of things, or that you're not doing enough, or emotionally, yeah, we can be very, very strong physically. Emotionally, it could be a whole different ball of wax, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, it's a mess up there. Yeah, and it's crazy though, man, because I kept seeing these videos, especially the one where the girl was like having a party in the background, and she was just like, I just didn't know what to say. I was like, what the hell am I watching? And then all of a sudden, somebody pops on the screen and says that she had posted this video. Her own family members have gotten in the conversation too. We're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry she posted this." Didn't excuse her actions. We're just
Right.
like, "I am so sorry that we are associated with this. We want nothing to do with what she's saying at this point." And I think what her thought was is she was going to post it. A bunch of people are going to back her, but really it turned around and backfired on her. But then these younger girls are seeing this, and then you're seeing these younger girls saying stupid shit too. It's like, you don't know anything. Like, you're talking like you know more. You've got to be like 17, 18, 19 range, somewhere in there. And you're talking to us about men's mental health and how we're weak. It's like, I get the fact that, people post these things, but I don't think people realize what happens when people see them and then message it sends to the younger crowd of people. These younger adults
Right.
are looking at this, seeing these things and thinking this is okay to do. So I'll jump on this train too, not realizing the aftermath effect of what's going to happen next. Like I don't think I get the whole thing where they're arguing amendments shouldn't have its own month. You're right. It probably doesn't need its own month, but at the same time, it's not being talked about enough. That's why the whole point of the month exists. So,
Right.
there's two sides to that story, honestly, if you think about it. It should be talked about every day. It shouldn't just be highlighted one month. It should be everybody. We should always be talking about these things, but we can't because we're always told to be quiet, and depending what generation you grew up in,
Oh,
that's where it gets
oh yeah.
worse. You know what I'm saying? Like the older crowd's like, oh no, everybody has this, everybody has it's like, no. No, they don't. These things happen. It's like, but we're going off at an 80% rate. That's crazy. That's more than half. Like 80% of us are not going to make it. We don't know which one of us. And
Right.
it's like if you look at it every second of the day, it's like we're losing so many people every second of the day. It's like, what the hell's going on? And it's like we know it's a problem, but
Oh
we don't want
sure.
to talk about it.
Right. And then what is a root cause on that stuff? I am one of those older generation. What's causing all this stuff? You can outline everything that's going on with men nowadays. Uh, Say for instance, I usually say, yeah, I'm 50, right?
Yeah.
It's not my world anymore. It's the younger generation. It's their world. But yeah, I got brought up in a generation where it was like, hey, you're not feeling good? No, rub dirt on it. Go
Yeah.
walk it off. Pain's only temporary. Suck it up and just keep going. And you start to push so much stuff down into you. and saying, I'm not going to feel this, I'm not going to feel that. Hey, it's there.
Hmm.
Whether we like it or not, we just pushed it off to the side. It still exists. And it's something that, after a while, it opens the floodgates. How much are you willing to take? And each individual guy, what's it going to take for them to break? And maybe some have a little more pain tolerance than others, some don't. Some are able to deal with it, some don't. But yeah, I've seen those videos where they say, hey, if you have an issue, who do you talk to? And guy after guy, and they say, absolutely no one. I got no
Yeah.
one to talk to. I've got no one to listen. I've got no one to anything. And I'll tell you what, I'll even blame some of the older generation, because we'll go to our elders, if you will. Hey, dad, uncle, friend, how did you guys deal with it? And that's what we're told.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Don't worry about it. That you stop being, a baby about it. Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And then you sit here with the current generation. We're sitting here. Be quiet. Don't talk about it. Don't say anything about it. Because you're not a man about it. We talk to maybe our female counterparts, and they look at us a different way. A
Yeah.
lot of women will weaponize it. A lot of women will look at you as being weak. A lot of women will look at you as, man, he's got a lot of baggage. I don't want any part of it. You go to a younger generation, and they've got even other thoughts. So it seems like some of us are kind of just stuck in the middle, because we can't be part of the mentality of the younger generation. We can't be part of the older generation, but we're sitting here holding the bag. It seems like what's part of what's happening.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And the funny thing is, yesterday my guest, Mr. Whiskey, and I were talking about this subject a little bit. He said that when social media was invented, suicide rates went up like 20%. If I remember right, I might not be quoting him right, so I do apologize. The number's wrong, guys. That's everybody's listening. I do remember he mentioned though. He said ever since the conception of social media is when the numbers started jumping up, though, because it's like now you have more reach, and like I said, it's these videos people post, and look at a lot of these influencers or what they're posting. It's like they're putting
Right.
on these images of, oh, everything's so great to this and that. Or Andrew Tate is another one I really cannot fucking stand. That guy. Like, he's like, oh, just treat women like shit, it's okay. It's like, no, you're telling these kids that this is okay, but then they're doing these things, and then all these things are resulting from it. And it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, stop telling them lies and lying to them about these things.
Great.
And it's funny that all these videos show up now in mental health, men's mental health month. Like, these videos aren't showing up now, but it's like, okay, after this month, watch and see how many of those people still continue the conversation. You know?
Right. And I mean, even with guys like that take it to an extreme, you have to be leery about what it is that you're listening to,
Yeah.
and just how far off to either the left or the right they're going. Um, don't get me wrong, it is difficult, but I've taken a look at some of those videos, and I nitpick at to what to take away from it, to what not to take away from it. Like, just I look at it and I say, there's nothing wrong with having a preference. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with defending yourself. There's nothing wrong with you, wanting something and feeling something, and that it be respected. Uh, I wouldn't go as far as he does, like you said. That is just
Who's annoying, man? I swear to
crazy.
God. It's just like,
The
stop telling young generation to talk like this
Yeah,
about women, because it's
it's
insanity,
not
dude.
helping.
Like, you're not
It's
making
not
it any
helping.
better.
No, it's not helping at all. Which to them, I usually say, the errors of one ruin it for the rest of us, right? And after a while, everybody's quoting him or anything like that. But especially when you have enough power to influence or lead or anything to that extent, if I were you, I'd be a little careful the way you're doing it, because it's just not, it's not conducive to something healthy at all. And we're causing most of the problems that are there, because the regular guys, we don't have his money, we don't have his lifestyle, we don't have anything that he has. The regular guys who are going about doing it life this way is are part of the reason why they can't get through life in a good manner.
Yeah. No, I get you there. And it's just scary though, because like these kids see these things and they grow up thinking these things are okay, and then they start shadowing what they're seeing, and then it's like,
Right.
oh, we didn't know something was wrong with them. What do you mean? You're the one they're a product of their environment 90% of the time.
Sure.
Honestly, the things that they see around them as early as four, they can tell what's going on as early as 4 years old. So, and it's been proven that kids at 4 years old can actually understand a lot more than people realize. Like they see things they don't understand completely, but they're watching you. So your interactions with your significant other and other people, they're watching all these kind of things, and I think that's the scary part of it all is that it starts there, and then when social media came into play, now you've got these constant videos just showing up, sexualizing women and things like that, and then these different videos of these guys just saying stupid shit that these girls saying, oh well, asking those girls like different interviews, like what makes a man a man? Money, and it's like, does it really though? I mean, it's kind of like and then it's what is it? Me and Mr. Whiskey were talking about yesterday. He was talking about he was watching this dating show and said that one of the girls was judging someone based on looks or something, and he was like, "That's ridiculous. How are you going to judge somebody by looks alone? And they could be the nicest person in the world." And I'm just like, that's the society we live in, because society's telling us that, oh, if you're not making a lot of money, you're not looking good, then okay, well, then you're just not the one for me. And we're sending the wrong message to these kids, and these younger generations, and things like that. And I know the younger suicide rates for kids is gone up too because of social media as well. And
Right.
because now it's easier to attack people. Now you have the video games where people are getting on there and saying crazy shit to people, and it's just like, I remember the '90s when we had Call of Duty lobbies that were saying things in there that I would never repeat ever again in my life that were that bad, and it's just
Right.
it gets crazy because it's like you don't realize the effects of what you're doing there. You're saying things to people, you're telling people to go kill themselves, things like that. And I had a situation where that happened recently where my wife was online and this little boy was playing, and this guy said, "Oh, you're shit. Oh, you're trash. You need to, get off this game and go kill yourself." I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Telling a little kid who's got to be somewhere 8 to 10 range that's playing this game, and you're mad at him because he's not good. Well, okay, he's 8 or 10. He doesn't know better. Then you're telling this kid to
Right.
go kill himself. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? So I went and bullied this guy. I jumped. I went right at him like, "Hey, listen, I heard you like to pick on little kids and tell him to go kill himself." And he goes, "Huh?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I came into this kid's defense. I was like, I came home that morning and I was like, I was searching for his name online. And I sent him a message. "Hey, I heard you like to pick on little kids." So I'm like, all right, well, I'll pick on you. See what you think about this. This is ridiculous. You can't talk to these little kids like that, bro. Like they're playing a game just like the rest of us.
And
And things
like I usually say, I bully bullies.
exactly. That's what I do, man. I'm hunting them down. Trust me. I go after them. I don't have a problem with it. And
No, man,
it's
I
it's
don't
just
either.
like it's just crazy though, man. It's like we're doing these things, and I think that we're expecting everyone like Microsoft, Facebook, all these people to police their own sites. Yes, okay, I get that, but we're the parents for some of these kids because some of these things these
Right.
little kids are saying is horrible, though. You know what I'm saying? Like the things they say to people, and they're bullying other kids online, and then you got Snapchat, and you have all these other things. As a parent myself, I've had to deal with that situation of bullying. My daughter was being bullied because she didn't know what sexual orientation she wanted to be. She thought she might like girls and everything else. And I'm just like, sweetheart, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. I don't care.
Hmm.
That's fine with you, because she used to come up to me and say all the time, "Dad, I like girls." Okay, so what's the problem there? What's the issue? I don't care. And then I'm not sure, but then I found out she was getting bullied by one of these young gentlemen because she didn't, she was experimenting with girls and was unsure if she likes girls or something like this. And he was like sending these hateful messages to her, and and then the just like attacking her, and she already had a lot of mental health issues already. She deals with anxiety and things like that, like I do, and stuff like that too. And it just doesn't help. It's like we got to stop doing these things because it's ridiculous.
Right. And I've always thought, yeah, I don't know when it became proper to be able to use that kind of verbiage against another human being.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I would never tell anybody, hey, I wish you would die or
yeah,
anything to that extent, or use loud and obnoxious verbiage. Um, unless maybe you're being attacked and you got to attack back, or certain situations, but just out of the blue, and specifically kiddos, I got a 12-year-old son, and I'm noticing that little by little, he wants to be more and more like me. Now, am I setting the example? I got to question myself every day. What am I teaching him? What am I showing him? How am I
Yeah.
showing him what he needs to be? But with that, I got to have a good mindset.
Yeah.
My mindset has to be on tap
Yeah.
because you don't know. There's always a bigger bear in the woods.
Yeah.
As much as you think that you're being tough in front of your child or anything, I would venture to question yourself, what's leading me to be doing these kinds of things? Because obviously something's wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, because your kiddos are going out there, you might be thinking that you're prepping them to defend themselves against a big, nasty world. I get it. There's certain ways to go about it. That's not one of them. You're influencing in their mental health on that end because they're going to grow up having all these aggressions or questions or whatnot, and even then they think there's only one way of thinking, one way of doing things. It's to the point where for some odd reason bullying has become popular or the cool thing to do.
Right.
I don't get it. To me, helping somebody come into somebody's defense, acknowledging that somebody exists or so on and so forth, to me that's a lot cooler. I mentor a lot of younger guys now that I'm old,
Yeah.
specifically at work. And I usually do it by the way I behave. So say for instance, I go into work and everybody's wearing polos and jeans. I go into work wearing slacks, shirt, and a tie. And guys are like, why are you dressed that way? I'm like, I dress for the job I want. I don't dress for the job I have. So if I dress this way, I'm comfortable this way. I'm portraying an image. I'm showing you how I feel today. And it gets into the world because the world actually reacts to you the way they see you. So I'm like, guys, the way you talk, the way you walk, your body language, the way you dress, everything about you is always putting an image out there for everybody else. So trust me, a lot of times I'm a mess.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
But the fact that I get up and I'm trying to show everybody that there can be a better way of doing things, of course I'm going to do it. Of course I'm going to, you know, uh, dress up and wear my nice watch and shine my shoes and so on and so forth because that as a man helps you even
Yeah.
with your mental state at that point.
No, I agree,
So
man. All right, so I'm looking at some shocking facts over here. Okay, you ready for this?
shoot them.
All right, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, all right, these are some statistics I'm looking at right now. Did you know that suicide is the second leading cause for men under the age of 45 in the U.S.?
Wow.
Isn't that scary, man? And that's what hits me the hardest is because I'm 40 now, man. It's like
Yeah.
I'm more likely to die by suicide than just dying by natural causes alone.
Yep.
And there's some other statistics that says that according to the U.S. This is the U.S. alone says that men account for nearly 80% of all suicides, which we already knew, despite making up 50% of the population. That's a scary number. Thinking about that, we make up 50% of the population in this country, and 80% of us aren't going to make it.
It's hard because I
It,
got a lot
it's
of friends, or at
it's a
least
hard
a lot of people I
digestion. It's
know.
hard to digest that number, man. It's just insane.
I cannot. It makes you turn around and look at all the people that you know,
Yeah,
and then you ask yourself the question, who's not going to be here in a while?
yeah, isn't that
That's
scary, man?
sad. That yeah, and I'll tell you what, that includes me. You
Yeah,
know, who's not going to be here in the next week, 2 weeks, months,
yeah,
year, and I hate to think that. I'd rather put together an old age home where everybody who knows each other is in. We
right,
just are sipping on a prune juice together and like, hey, Pete, remember that time we were on that podcast?
right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's scary to think about it, man. Because like
It's
that's a
very
scary
disheartening.
number. That's a scary ass number, dude. It's insane.
Trust me,
Like
I'm trying to hold it back because it's yeah,
it's
it's hard to swallow.
it's hard, man. Okay, here's another scary fact. A person dies by suicide every 11 minutes in the U.S. Men comprise the vast majority of these deaths. So every 11 minutes we lose a person, and most of those are men. Oh my god, this is just insane, dude. Like
Right.
it's like we know these are issues, but we're not solving the problems, or it's hard to get mental health care, which is insane. Like the
Right.
cost of it alone is just nuts. You figure it's like we have to have medical insurance for everything. So they make it easier, more accessible for us, knowing that these are the statistics we're looking at, and
And
it's
what
scary though that's the what we're at now is that 80% of us aren't going to make it out of the 50% of the population we make up, and 11 of us are 11, every 11 minutes. One of those is a men.
right.
More majority of it are men versus women. And it's just like, oh my fucking god, this is insane.
And what are we doing to help?
What are
That's
we doing now?
you know,
Because we're not doing anything, as apparently looks like.
no, because the numbers keep growing and growing and growing. And it's just a lot of times I can't find the words. I know a lot of my brothers are having a hard time out there.
Yeah.
And I know they are. And a lot of times I tell them, hey, if you want to talk or anything, I always reach out. I get met with silence, but I reach out.
Yeah.
One of the words that you always hear me say is, and you've probably seen me even call you, I'll call you a brother, because I want you to feel that there's somebody out here that, hey, is really interested in that you're okay, is really interested that you're doing good. All us guys, I wish everybody would understand, we're a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Every single man in this world, we're a brotherhood. We are in the same boat. A lot of us are probably going through the same exact thing. There's no need to go through it by yourself.
Yeah. No, I
There
agree.
isn't. And I wanted to take this opportunity here because I know I could talk to you about a lot of stuff that, like I'm talking to you right now. And I know that if I told you, hey Pete, mind if we have an offline conversation? I want to run by something by you. I know you're there.
Yeah.
Uh, Same thing with me. It's just I may not be perfect, but hey, I'll sit here and listen to you, dude. A lot of times it's just, can somebody just sit there and listen,
Yeah.
and at least make me feel like I exist for 10 seconds while I'm talking.
Yeah.
That helps tremendously. That helps tremendously.
Yeah. That goes a long way too. That's why I always say, oh, one kind act could save somebody's life whenever I close up the show, because it's true. Think about it. You could just be nice to one person one day and that's it. You could save their life and not even realize it. And I think that people don't understand that, or they overlook that fact. They think money has to solve everything, or this, it's always somebody looking for something. A lot of times people just want to be heard.
Right.
You and I have both been there. We know what it's like. We feel like, we're alone, we're not heard, or a burden, and it's just something that's driving you to think this way, and I have friends too. I actually had somebody this morning ask me, am I okay? Because I've been posting a lot of, these suicide videos. But I'm
Right.
like, I'm just trying to get the word out to people that, hey, listen, these are things that we need to talk about. This is an uncomfortable conversation to have with people. I've had people come to me and say they're going to they thought about killing themselves. And I've referred them to 988, a lot of them. And one of them actually told me, you need to go to the hospital and get some help, because at this point, I can't help you, but I can help you let you go, know where you got to go. Like, get some help, because you really need help. It's
Right.
not to say you're crazy. None of these other things. It's not judgmental. I just rather you not do something that you can't forget, you can't regret afterwards. Because once you end your life, that's it. There's no coming back. That's it. It's game
Right.
over. And that goes to the same thing that taught my kids. I was like, listen, remember what you say to people, because the last thing you say to them could be the last thing that they ever hear. You ever say
Right.
to them is the last thing that you can say to them after that. You can't take that back a lot of times. So think about that. And especially when it comes to men too, it's like, it's like you say these things, and then it's like women are like, oh, don't be sensitive, or this, like, there's this one video I was watching though, really pissed me off though. It got me thinking about it right now. Is that this guy was crying in the car, and she goes, what are you crying for? Stop being a bitch. Stop being this. And it's like, why are you doing that to him? Why? He's clearly, something's wrong. He's clearly being emotional about it, and then you're degrading him and calling him a bitch and telling him to stop being a pussy. All these other things you could call him, and you're just
Right.
calling him this, and it's two young people, and it's the scariest part of all. It's just like, why? Why are you doing that to them? I don't understand why you don't ask them what's wrong. Like, okay, she did technically. She's screaming at him, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" Just start getting nasty to him.
Right.
I'm like, really? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like it just aggravates me so much, and it's just like, I love though that, I see a lot of these other people starting to talk about it. There's a bunch of different people getting together and having conversations. I knew you and our good buddy Kelby, he talks about it too a lot
Mhm.
and things like that. And it's great to see, but it's like we know these are an issue, but then we don't do anything about the problem, you know. And it's the same thing when it comes to like guns too. You know, one of my people that follow the show now, Alberto, he and I were talking about. He wanted to come on and talk about guns and things, and I think he's right though. He's thinking about it. Guns don't kill people; it's the person that controls the weapon. An
Right.
inanimate object's not making these decisions. It's a person that's chosen to do these things. You know, and we all want to blame mental health, but then what are we doing to solve these problems? Nothing. We're just going to keep rushing it on the rug. Oh no, worry about guns. It's guns. Guns aren't doing the killing. It's the person controlling the weapon. Until they're automated like the Terminator, there's nothing you can do. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
makes you laugh
Yeah,
because you're
yeah,
watching all those Terminator movies, you know, things like that, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're afraid Skynet's going to happen soon." Well, then why not take the steps and not allow these kind of things to happen? Put limitations because it was funny though. I was talking to somebody last week and we were talking about Chat GPT. Oh, it was Dr. Fujang. She was so fucking cool, by the way. Awesome lady. If you guys haven't seen that interview, go back and check out Dr. Fujang. Nice conversation. Amazing guest. She and I were discussing Chat GPT because she said that people were saying they were suicidal talking to Chat GPT, and Chat GPT was giving them ideas on how to commit suicide. I was like, what? I was like, no. She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah.
Oh
Please stop
wow.
using ChatGPT as your therapist. It doesn't understand what's going on because she is as
Oh,
an app that she was working on, and that was one of the things she was trying to stop it from saying those kind of things, you know. And
right.
that was one of the things she stressed because she remembered that she was hearing that because they're like, oh, I'm using ChatGPT as my therapist as that conversation. I'm like, no, you're not. I said, please stop. Please stop
Yeah.
doing these stupid things. You know, ChatGPT don't understand anything you're saying to it. And then when the fact suicide got mentioned and it's telling you how to commit, you're asking an AI which has no human intelligence like that.
Emotions.
You know what I'm saying? Has no emotions, doesn't understand these things, doesn't understand what it's saying to you. And Dr. Fujin was like, yeah, you know, that's what happened. She's like, we when we designed our app that has the AI feature, we made sure to strictly keep it away from those parts too. And I was like,
Right.
you didn't think you'd had to go that far, but I guess you do now, you know, according to what her research was. And I was just like, that's insane.
And emotions, we got to realize that emotions are so complex.
Mm-hmm.
They are so complex because we all interpret things a different way. We all handle things a different way. And we could be looking at the same problem. We probably have, 20 different answers, between you and me
Yeah.
as to how to deal with it, how to not deal with it, or so on and so forth. You have to waddle through them. You have to try to assimilate them. You have to try to understand what it is that you're feeling at that point in time.
Right.
But my take is usually, how do I get to the root cause? Now, don't get me wrong. We come into a lot of these things, these videos, these lives, and everything. Yes, we have suggestions. Yes, we can tell you, hey, try this, try that. Yes, we can say, hey, this is not the way to do things, or so on and so forth. But you know what? Yes, we understand that everything that we're saying is extremely difficult to do.
Yeah.
The fact that we're offering up, advice or anything to that extent, we know that you're going through a hard time. We know you are. I've gone through a hard time, and I know how hard it is to take your own advice and how hard it is to just get it done, execute it. So, learn from it. Take the tools that you need, that you can do, that you want to put into your hand and say, okay, I'm going to try this and work. Just my take is like, just don't give up. Try something. It's a lot of us are going to tell you a lot of things. If out of 100 things you pick one and it works for you, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. But by the same token, it's just like, realize that yes, it is complex. Yes, it's difficult to get out of that hole. Yes, it's there, but it's easier to get out of a hole if somebody's reaching out, from on top of the hole and giving you a hand to pull yourself out, versus you trying to climb out and then the dirt just giving way and you fall back in.
Yeah.
It's it is what it is. But a lot of the time, I wish I could tell everybody you're not alone.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell everybody, we're here. You can reach out to us if you want it enough. Here's the hand. Take it. I can listen to you. I can suggest. I can, you know, tell you what happened to me.
Yeah.
I know we've all gone through a lot of different things, but
Yeah.
like I said, just look at it. And if I can tell you, hey, I did this and it helped me, I did this and it saved me, I did this and things changed. Maybe you'll sit there and something will trigger in your mind and be like, it, yeah, maybe I'll try that. Just don't, something small. Doesn't even have to be anything big. Doesn't have to be anything life altering. Just something small. Take it, run with it, see how you can get through it. And then, you know, if you need to, come back. Let's gauge it. See if it worked. See if it didn't work. Just, you know, let's try something because that root cause of what these issues are is what's going to be the hardest thing to get to. And that's the only way we're going to resolve this. Because we look at the problems on the surface, we don't look at down here. How did it grow to this? And that's the important part. How did it grow to this? How did we start here and get to this level?
All right,
Let's
so I'm
work on it.
reading a scary statistic here, okay? Do you know what 19% of the US adults annually and 42 million Americans suffer with? And this is the
Oh,
leading cause, mind you, of disability too, by the way. I'm just looking at some statistics here. I thought this was very interesting to bring up. That anxiety disorders make up 19% of the US adults annually, 42 million Americans.
yes,
Globally, anxiety disorders are the leading cause of disability.
yes. And
That's
I've got a lot of folks that I know that have anxiety.
Yeah,
And
and people that don't have it always want to tell you, "Hey, listen, relax." And it's like, yeah, it's not easy to do, man. You
no,
know, I think that
I,
the craziest number I'm seeing on here is speaking of social media. Can you guess what number shows up? It's nearly a third report that social media negatively impacts their mental health, particularly among young adults. You want to take a wild guess on what that percentage is?
over 50, easy.
No, you're close, but it's 30% actually, man.
Oh, okay.
It's still scary. That's still a scary number, okay?
It
And it's
is.
particularly among young adults. It's like, but then they feel like they don't have to police these things. I'm like, but this is
E-
your
e-
site, man. You're allowing this shit to happen.
Everything on social media is look how perfect my life is. Look how great I'm doing. Look how,
Look how
guys,
pretty I am. Look at all these high dollar
e-
items. I get all these, yeah.
everybody has issues. Even people with money have issues. People who are
Yeah.
living the high life have issues. We all have issues, guys. If you want to make your life that pretty, do it here.
Yeah.
Do it here.
I agree.
It's if you're driving around in a car that's getting you from point A to point B, perfect. Perfect. That's what you need. You don't, yeah, it'd be nice to have that Lamborghini, right? You know, it'd be great, sure, of course. But then you know how much insurance is on a Lamborghini? You know how much repairs are on a Lamborghini? Yeah, you're looking at
Hmm.
a whole slew of problems, but a car's a car. It needs repairs. It
Well,
needs
they
maintenance. It
say
needs
the real
anything.
expensive fancy cars. Do you remember the girl? I can't remember what her name was. I know it was Pokey Princess is what her name was at one
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, we remember that whole scenario. Turns out she went to go party, left her kid alone, and it's like, do you see this girl, telling these wild stories online, flashing all these fancy cars, doing all these kind of things, and then turns around and makes a mockery of the fact that she got called out for leaving her kid somewhere and says, "Oh, that didn't happen." Then the 911 call comes out, and you hear absolutely nothing from her. It's
Right.
like, and so but that leads to what you're saying though, too, is because a lot of these people have a lot of other issues. I think
Right.
also social media fuels FOMO, if you're missing out as well, is a really good point of what I'm reading on this side here.
Oh,
Too, is
sure.
very addictive because it's like that. Like we'll use TikTok for an example. Like I feel like it's like that really bad with a lot of these people invite you 20,000 different lives. So I just stopped showing up to a lot of them. Like I unplug regularly. And I
Mhm.
suggest a lot of people do the same thing. It's like just take a break from social media sometimes when you need to, because if
I've done
not,
it.
you're going to do the FOMO. So you know exactly what I say. That fear, you feel like you're missing out. Now it's so much better because like anytime I feel like that's coming on set, I'm like, no, I'm pulling back. I'm good. And then people ask where I was
No,
at. Oh, I was just busy. That's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you I'm busy because I don't really feel like I need to explain to people that I just needed a break and things like that. And it's pretty interesting because the other thing we didn't think about is cyberbullying too.
oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
preventable and can lead to psychological effects, including depression, isolation, and suicidal thoughts, which I think is a very interesting point because when it comes to social media, increased rates of depression, anxiety, loneliness, especially among teens and young adults.
Yeah. Because we're that generation that,
We just
you
got
know,
it when it came in.
Yeah, there was no such thing as cyberbullying. If you wanted to tell somebody something,
Yeah.
you had to go up to them and tell them, and then roll the dice, right? You know, the
Yeah. Yeah, roll the
we're the
dice or get
ones
your ass beat. Yeah. It's
we're
different. Like what is it? What Craig's dad said some Fridays. He's like, you could fight with your fists or fight the gun. He's like, this makes you a man or whatever. And it's like,
it,
okay, I
it,
get at the time it probably was the right state of mind for them because that's what they thought. But at the same time, it's like when you start bringing guns into situations, it's like
oh
you're getting
sure,
ready to take a life, and then you're not thinking the effects afterwards. Because a lot of these kids that were bullied, I was bullied as a kid too, so I understand. My guest yesterday, Mr. Whiskey, he was bullied too, and he was telling a little bit about his story too because he was always real tall and socially awkward and real skinny, and
right,
he like it's just like it's so fucked up though because it was so bad to the point like well I told somebody this I'll just tell you now because I've never told anybody this story until yesterday. When I was bullied when I was a kid, they went around telling people I had a hit list in my locker. So like
okay,
I didn't know they said this, and I think all these people are talking about it and telling people about it, and then they're all looking at me weird. Mind you, I'm in a school that had a graduating class of like 300. So we're looking at a relatively small school. You're in a small area. Word travels like fast. Like there's no, it's like the social media is already there in the hallways. And everybody just kept looking at me, were asking me weird questions and things like that, and kept making comments. And I had no idea until somebody told me that's what they were saying because they pulled me into the office and told me this. And I'm just thinking, huh? Like, what are you
right,
talking about? Yeah, somebody told us you had a suicide. Yeah, you had a hit list in your locker. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Go look in there. Where did you see it in the locker? And things like that. Well, we're a little concerned, and like, what are you talking about, dude? I haven't done anything. I got bullied by these kids. These kids are picking on me, and I just had enough and stood up for myself. And then I was the
right,
bad guy because I said something because you guys don't do anything, which it's still bad these days.
right, and and it ended up being something weird
Yeah,
because, like, say for instance, I got bullied in middle school,
yeah,
and it was to a case in point where it was a group of kids. It's interesting how you can it happens as far as part of a group or anything to that extent. And it gets to the point where you get to a different level. They see you, and you're like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Yeah, same person,
yeah,
right? Same person, but now the the shoes on another foot,
yeah.
right? You never know. You never know with that end. So I'd be a little more careful what it is that we're doing on that end.
I think so too. I think when it comes to a lot of stuff, you have to be careful about the things you say because I think what is it that Canadian show Degrassi best picturized it for people what happens. When all the different they had the kid that was getting picked on or whatever his name was. Rick was the character, and he was aggressive with the one lacrosse girl and ends up killing her because he ends up getting so aggressive with her. But then led to
Right.
him getting bullied by the two guys. And then for anybody that's in the characters, basically Spinner, the one kid, and then the kid Jimmy that was the basketball star got shot as well because they thought it was funny to pick on him. Well, he
Right.
retaliated by bringing a gun to school, and like so many of these other kids that the Columbine shooting was a good example for that one too. That was their thing is they were picked
Yeah.
on so bad that these kids decided that was the only way to go. And I had a Columbine survivor on that she was in the library that actually saw these
Oh, wow.
kids and she was like so close, man. She said she was close enough to see the whites of the eyes. She was under the table in the library, saw the whites of his eyes. He told her to come out, and she's like, "No, I'm not." I'm thinking in my head, like, "Oh hell no, bitch! Don't come out from that table. Don't you dare get up from that table." And she's like, "No, just watch somebody get shot in front of her." And it's all because these kids were picked on. And it's like, you would think
Sure.
that would be the big thing is okay after this tragedy that we're going to stop doing these we're going to stop these things though. And then there was the kid in Tennessee's dad who bought the gun from him he showed this severely he had really bad intentions. He bought it for him and then thinks he's not going to be blamed for these things. Then you had
Right.
Sandy Hook where those poor little kids had nothing to do with anything, and that one guy person came in and started shooting up the school. And it's just like it's just insane, dude. And then some of these people, it's like you go back further and you start seeing the reports. Oh, well, they were posting things on social media. So, like, you don't think that maybe you should go pick them up and let them, hey, listen, I'm watching your activity. I know you're doing something. Let them know that, hey, listen, you need to cut it out because
Right.
we're watching you do these things. And it's like, it's scary because a lot of people see that and they don't think anything of it. They think that people are joking, but it's like, are they joking though? That's the question. Like, the craziest thing that they're talking about is, these things and writing these like letters on these suicide notes and things like this. And people don't seem to think that that's an issue, but it's just scary, man, that these things are posted out there. And then people they're like, the cops are watching it. Okay, so then what are you doing about this problem if you know the person's posting these wild obscenity things out there, saying these things, and then we don't do anything, and then we have these tragedies, and oh my God, it comes out that you knew about this a while ago and we could have prevented it, but instead we let this thing continue to build further instead of stopping, including the one kid that tried to assassinate Trump, who was on the rooftop. They said they could see him on the rooftop. I'm just like,
Right.
what?
And and the thing is, the behaviors are there. It's just
Mm-hmm.
looking. Oh, we often, as human beings, try to ignore things that we don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And I mean, the situation is there. One of the comments I was going to make it to you, as far as going back to the little bit on the anxiety stuff, is
Yeah.
now that I've met a lot more people, I realize that anxiety is a lot more prevalent, among society right now than it was before.
Yeah.
And people are actually coming out and saying, "Hey, I've got anxiety. It hinders me. It's I wish I didn't have it." Or, "Hey," I usually tell the folks that have anxiety that are my friends, not a problem. It's okay. If you
Yeah.
guys don't want to people today, don't want anything today, it's good. Just take care of yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Take care of yourself. But, you know, noticing those behaviors. Yeah, we can tell people, hey, breathe, relax, calm down. We're trying to quell maybe a little outburst that's going on, not an outburst, a little anxiety that's spiking right there at that case in point, but we're not trying to solve anxiety. We can't.
Yeah.
It's again, we don't know what the root cause of it is, and but we're there to support. We're there to listen.
Yeah.
When you support and you listen, then you start seeing all these other folks maybe that have gone off and done some things that are a little more extreme, if you will. Uh, I'm in El Paso where we had that shooting at Walmart
Mm-hmm.
that killed about 20 people. Uh, the story goes the guy he was driving down I-10. He decided to stop to eat something, and he decided, hey, there's a McDonald's at a Walmart. I'm stopping here. Lo and behold, he picked the one that was here in town. Uh,
That'd be crazy though, man.
it
Thinking that it's right there.
yeah,
What's going on? How you
and
doing? Good morning.
and with them talking to his parents, his family, yeah, there was behaviors there. We need to notice these things. We need to bring them to the forefront. We need
Yeah.
to, raise a red flag, a white flag, something, smoke signals, uh, something or other. Just don't ignore it. Don't ignore it anymore. Don't ignore men. Don't ignore mental health.
Yeah.
Stop ignoring, these red flags. They could mean so much. One word can change somebody's life.
Exactly.
Like you said, one word. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
One kind
And
act, one kind of statement. Hey, I like your shirt. Hey, this, how you doing?
yeah,
This and
yeah,
that, just making people feel like they're being heard. It is so simple. Like, we're not asking you to
it's
donate all this
very
money. I'm not Sally
yeah,
Struthers. I'm not here crying, talking about save the children in Africa somewhere.
yeah, and
It's obviously a growing problem that we need to address now. And we as men need to stop being so silent and start talking about these things more often.
yes.
And me and Felipe are here, man. If you ever want to reach out to any of us, man, we always listen. He's real
Oh
great
yeah,
about it. I am too, things like that. I always listen. And my inbox is always open. I'm on every single thing. Like, you can hit me up on anything. I'll get to you. If something urgently you need something, just send me another message and I'll see that for sure it's something, because I check all my messages as I go, and I'll
mhm,
reply to the ones that someone really needs. If not, I just kind of look at them. I don't really respond to a lot of them, just because half of them are like, oh, well, I'll promote your podcast, this and that. But if you really need somebody to talk to, reach out. We're listening. There's tons of other people that are listening out there. We're going to do a men's mental health panel on the 23rd of next Monday. We're doing one at 1 p.m. So far, I know that there's going to be at least 4 of us involved in this thing is starting, and even we're going to do more going forward. So, I asked Mr. Whiskey yesterday to be a part of one as well, and he said he would definitely be down to join us. We'd obviously make it work for whatever time constraints he needs. So right now it's 1 p.m. next week. It's going to be the first ever Pete versus Anxiety men's mental health panel. We're going to talk about some stuff. I'm gonna have some videos to show them, and basically what's gonna happen is I'm gonna show the videos to everybody, and then we're gonna talk about the stuff, and those videos all these videos of these men's mental health awareness things, and where people are making mockeries of it. We're gonna get everybody's opinions live, man. And if you want to be a part of it, and you want to be in the comment section, guys, you can mention anything you like in those comments. We'll put them up here on the edge. Like Ed had stopped by and said hello, things like that. We can put them up here. So if you're not a part of the panel, there'll be more going forward. My plan is to do one every single month. Time will be different depending on who it is I'm trying to get to come in. If I'm trying to get somebody special, we may have to change the time up a little bit. Felipe said he's down to come do it with us too, so we're definitely going to get him on there as well. And it's great, man. And like I said, it's great to have these open conversations about things, too, and stuff like that as well. I just think that even though when the month ends, I think the conversation is going to continue. Honestly, I
Continue.
think it should. It really should continue. I think everybody's mental health is important. We're not saying that men's are better than women's. We're just
No,
talking about the thing that men don't want to talk about a lot, and that's what it is. So ladies, if you come and you comment something, you want to add some
sure.
input, go ahead. Your input's welcome. We're not silencing anybody in these conversations. It's a conversation for everybody.
Oh yeah, and I mean, same problem with guys. Women have their own set of emotions that they need help with. Also, that there's certain things that they need to take a look at. Also, I in general say, hey, we're all human beings. Let's
Yeah,
let's get the help that we need, the attention that we need, either be friends, professional, and anything that just don't sit there and hide it. Just we need to stop shoving things down and
yeah,
just hoping that they go away. They never will. They just never will. And for guys, yes, we live in a world that we like to think of us as, like the Spartans of 300, or the character, the Punisher that comes out, that we can take anything and keep moving forward. The words from Rocky, right? How hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Yes, that's true. But there's healthy ways of going about it. There's
yeah,
healthy ways of doing it. Moving forward doesn't mean you take a punch and you just, get up and ignore it. No, it means we take emotional punches all the time. Let's deal with them. Let's see what's going on. Don't just shove it in a box. It doesn't work. It doesn't
yeah,
help. It doesn't do anything for you, because that box is like Pandora's box. It'll eventually open up, and then you're going to have to deal with a lot more stuff at the same time than just one thing at a time. So
yeah.
take care of your mental health as much as you can, guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the message really should be is just start speaking out, guys. Like we need to stop being silent and be more vocal about things. We're always vocal about how we're alpha males. Well, it's time to be vocal about this situation. We are losing 80% of us every year, and we make up 50% of this population. It's just got to stop. We got to get this number to go down. Even if we get it to go down by a few percentages, it's better than last year. We can't continue to watch these numbers rise, and especially the younger gentlemen, it's going up too. And we're losing kids faster than we're getting them, and
Right.
it's got to stop. We got to do something about it now. Now's the time to start being vocal. This is a call to action for all the men out there. We just need to start talking more. And like I said, the panel will be going on every month. If you want to be a part of it, reach out, let me know. Trust me, if you don't get into one of them, there'll be another one for sure. I'm guaranteeing it. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep inviting more people to keep coming to the conversation and things like that. And I'm going to try and bring in some special guests, other people to come speak on the topics as well, and things like that too. And we're gonna have a good time with it, man. It's gonna just be a couple guys getting together, having a good conversation. No one's gonna judge anybody. We won't even tolerate it, honestly. Anything that starts going that notion, somebody will be removed instantly. We're not here to do that. This is not to shame
Right.
anybody. This is not to insult anybody. This thing is
Oh,
strictly to start the conversation that needs to be had, because at 80% is an absolutely fucking ridiculous rate that we're continuing to allow this to happen. I think it's 600,000, a year as well too, and it's just insane. Like, we have problems. We need to start speaking about it. It doesn't make you less of a man to be honest about how you're feeling. I think that that's the bullshit narrative that needs to end now, and we need to stop it right now before this becomes an epidemic and we're losing more people. We're up to 85%, or then we're up to 100% of suicides are all males, and things like that. And it's just crazy.
and this is how simple it can be. Hey, Pete, did you have breakfast yet?
Yep.
Yeah, was it good?
Yep.
Coffee?
Yep.
All right. It
It's
sounds like
it
you
just
started your morning off right.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. Just checking in on people counts, just asking people, hey, how you doing? Just checking that friend you haven't heard from in a while.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for me. I'm busy a lot of times to check in with people. So I'll check in people with people though. I'll message them, hey, how's it going? Things like that, just to see how they're doing if I haven't heard from them in a while. I
And
just
even if it's a friend that you haven't heard it from in a while, because I know as guys we're like, oh, well, we're the ones reaching out to them. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's in their personality. Maybe it's in anything. Just send a
yeah,
text message, dude. It's gonna take you 15 seconds to be like, hey, good morning. Hope you're doing all right.
yeah,
Even if you haven't heard from that friend in a long time, or he doesn't text you back or anything, I razz a lot of my friends because I'm like, hey, if I don't call you, you never call me. But that's
yeah,
their personality. They're just like that. But I'll text somebody and be like, did you eat? You're okay? Anything you need? So on and so forth.
yeah.
And then they'll ask me, then it reciprocates. We get into a little bit of a conversation and moves on from there. But, you know, like we say, it's 30 seconds, 1 minute of our time during the day. We waste that on stupider things.
Yeah, true. All right, man. As we get ready to wrap up here, you want to let everyone know where they can find you? I know you're on TikTok. Do you use any other social media sites by chance?
I'm on TikTok under
Go for it. Here it comes.
this name gets a lot of attention. Sugarbear Felipe.
There it is. Sugar Bear
Um,
Felipe.
you know, I'm there. You guys can send me messages. I usually
Yeah, and he can
I
link
got
you up to some
Facebook.
really good friends too, as well. Kelby, our good friend Kelby's on there. We can link you up
Yeah,
with him as well. And
yeah. I've
just
got a
reach
lot of
out.
great people that I talk to, and if you guys have any questions on other folks, I know there's some great ladies on there also. So if
Hmm.
there's any ladies that are tuning in and they want to a reference as to who they can talk to, I know a lot of great ladies that help out also with mental health. So yeah, just hit me up, send me a message, I'll send it back, some information to you guys, and hopefully it'll be something good.
Right. And then I appreciate you coming, bud. It was great having you here. We'll definitely get you on the panel, guys. Like I said, next week is the first panel. And then after that, it's going to go to Team Anxiety exclusive only. So if you're not a part of the Facebook group, join now, because that's where all the other panels are going to go. We're going to start recording them and start having monthly conversations, and then eventually I'll trickle them out later on. But the conversation is not going to end even after this month ends. We're still going to keep going, and it's going to be great. We're going to invite some other people to come, get some celebrities and things. That we can get some other bigger podcasters to come on and talk to us as well. Like I said, looking forward to having Mr. Whiskey come back and whatever. He was great. He's invited me to be on the show, so I will have the date posted soon when I know exactly when I'm going to be on the show, and things like that. And as always, guys, I'm Pete versus Anxiety. You guys can find me on X all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify all the way down to iHeartRadio. And as I say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do could save someone's life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete versus Anxiety signing off saying, hey, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health?